Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're going deep into a truly harrowing chapter of history. We're focusing on a figure whose story is still, well, profoundly disturbing. Irma Grese.
Just 22 years old.
Yeah, and the youngest woman judicially executed under British law in the 20th century. Think about that.
And those nicknames, Hyena of Auschwitz, Beast of Belsen, they tell you something immediately.
They really do. So our mission today is to unpack her life, her actions, the trial. We're going to pull out the key insights from the sources we've looked at, the ones you provided, no external commentary, no taking sides.
Exactly. We just want to help you understand what made her so significant and frankly so disturbing.
We've got quite a mix of material for this, haven't we?
We do. Biographical details, actual trial transcripts, which are incredibly revealing, and historical analysis trying to piece it all together. It's all aimed at understanding this person who embodied such cruelty within this utterly horrific system.
Okay, let's start at the beginning then. Her origins. You might expect something dramatic, but...
It's surprisingly ordinary, isn't it?
Right. Irma Ilse Ida Grese, born October 7th, 1923. Reffen, a small rural village in Germany.
Modest family. Her father was a senior milker, mother a housewife. She was the third of 5 kids.
And that's crucial, I think. It just shows how these perpetrators can come from really unremarkable backgrounds.
Absolutely. Shatters that illusion that, only monsters look like monsters from the start.
So her early life unfolds as the Nazi Party is rising. What happens then?
Well, she leaves elementary school at 14. This is 1938. Takes on a few small jobs. Worked in a dairy factory, then as a retail clerk. Pretty standard stuff for a girl her age then.
But then things take a turn. At 15, she goes to the Hohenleichen Sanatorium as an apprentice aide.
And this is a key moment. Hohenleichen wasn't just any sanatorium.
No, it was where high-ranking SS personnel got treatment.
Exactly. And her mentor there, Karl Gebhardt, the director.
The man she later called a saint of the Nazi Party. That speaks volumes. What kind of influence did that environment have?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Gebhardt himself was involved in horrific medical experiments, bone grafting, things like that. The sources are careful. They say it's not known for certain, but
They suggest maybe witnessing this stuff, these agonizing experiments. Could that have been her first real exposure to sadism?
it's possible. A potential factor contributing to her later reputation. The sexual deviant label that came up. What's undeniable is the heavy indoctrination. SS ideology, race theory. She absorbed it all there.
And around the same time, maybe a year or two before, she joins the Bund Deutscher Mädel, the League of German Girls.
Right, around 1937 or 38. And she was apparently quite proud of it.
Why? What was the significance?
Because membership was supposedly restricted, only for genuine Aryans. It fed into that whole ideology.
And connecting this back to her family, this decision, joining the BDM and then wanting to join the SS, it caused a massive problem at home.
A huge one. Her sister Helene testified about it. Their father was completely against her joining the SS, vehemently opposed.
And he actually kicked her out, severed ties.
Yes, expelled her from the house. And this obviously hit Grese hard. Reports say she wept openly in court when asked about it. She had this deep resentment towards him.
So this difficult family situation, the early indoctrination, how does she actually get into the camp system?
Well, she later claimed the Reichsarbeitsdienst, the state labor service, stopped her becoming a nurse. But actually, it seems Gebhardt, her mentor from Hohenleichen, gave her the contact info for Ravensbrück.
He helped her get in.
He pointed her in the right direction. She was turned away at first, but she went back. July 1942, she's 18, does a 3-week training course, and becomes an Offizierin, a female guard.
Okay, so she's in Ravensbrück, 1942-43. What are her early days like as a guard? Is the cruelty immediate?
Apparently, yes. The sources say she quickly got a reputation. Cruelty, sadistic behavior towards the prisoners, even says she excelled her superiors in this, which is quite a statement.
Wow. And that story her sister Helene told at the Belsen trial. It really paints a picture, doesn't it?
It does. Grese visits home in 43 wearing her SS uniform. Her father's initially impressed, apparently.
But then
Grese's stepdaughter is in tears because Grese ripped the head and limbs off her doll.
just like that.
Just like that. And then her young son starts playing with Grese's revolver, points it at the father.
Good grief.
The father snaps,
Yeah.
takes the gun, hits Grese with it. It shows this complete breakdown, this transformation she'd undergone.
So from Ravensbrück, where does she go next?
Auschwitz. Auschwitz II, Birkenau, March 1943. She stays until January 45, and she rises through the ranks there, eventually becomes Oberaufseherin, senior overseer.
And this is where she gets that nickname, Hyena of Auschwitz. What did being senior overseer actually mean there? What was under her control?
The scale is just staggering. At
Mm.
Sea Lager in Birkenau, she was the top Aufseherin, overseeing 28 blocks, that's something like 20,000 to 30,000 prisoners, mostly Hungarian Jews at that point.
30,000 people.
Yes. And the blocks, designed for maybe a few hundred, were crammed with 1,000 each. Often no beds, no bunks. The sources describe prisoners behaving like animals just to survive. Sanitation totally collapsed. It's almost unimaginable.
How does one person even manage that kind of hellscape? What was her role day to day?
Well, the accounts point to heavy involvement in brutality, abuse, beatings, murder, especially women and children. She admitted carrying a pistol, claimed it was for self-protection, unloaded, never fired at prisoners. But she carried it.
And the beatings.
She admitted that too, using a cellophane whip, a stick, even though whips were supposedly against orders from Kramer, the commandant. And she authorized other guards to beat prisoners too, for discipline, stopping theft. It suggests she was actively enforcing brutality.
What about the selections? The infamous process of choosing who lived and who died immediately. Where did she fit in?
Her testimony is interesting here. She denied ever doing the actual selecting, but she admitted being responsible for keeping order during the selections, the parades.
Did she know what Sonderbehandling, special treatment, meant?
Yes. She admitted she knew it meant the gas chamber. Claimed she learned it from the prisoners, not officially. She also admitted Jews were almost always paraded naked, and if someone tried to run, she'd bring them back.
And maybe beat them.
She conceded she might have beaten them, yes. So, full awareness, even if she tried to distance herself from the final decision.
And that incident she described at Belsen later, forcing prisoners to do sport as punishment.
Right. The kitchen workers who stole meat, making them run, fall, get up over and over for half an hour until someone confessed. She denied using a whip then, called it a recognized form of punishment in the German service.
Trying to normalize it.
Exactly. Framing extreme cruelty as standard procedure.
So after Auschwitz, the war is nearing its end. She's transferred to Bergen-Belsen. When was this?
Early March 1945. She serves there as Arbeitsdienstführerin, labor service leader, and Rapportführerin, responsible for roll calls.
What were conditions like at Belsen then? It was liberated only weeks later.
Utter chaos. Horrific. Even Grese herself described being horrified by the state of the prisoners. Dirty, sick. The camp was massively overcrowded, transports arriving constantly. She admitted it was beyond anybody's control.
And yet she stayed. The sources mention a reason she didn't leave before the British arrived.
Yes, apparently she didn't want to leave her lover, another SS man named Hatzinger. So she stayed. The British 11th Armored Division arrested her there on April 15th, 1945.
And her lover.
Tragically, he died of typhus just days after the arrest. Grese, somehow, remained uninfected, despite the epidemic raging through the camp.
Which brings us to the trial, the Belsen trials. Held by the British in Lüneburg, Germany, September to November 1945.
A really significant moment for post-war justice. 45 defendants, including Grese and Kramer, facing a British military court.
What were the core legal issues? What were they actually charged with?
It was complex. War crimes against Allied nationals committed in both Belsen and Auschwitz. The prosecution, led by Colonel Backhouse, argued the camp conditions weren't just bad luck. They were deliberate starvation and ill treatment.
Part of a system.
Exactly. He called them all part of a criminal gang.
And the defense? What was their argument?
Grese's lawyer, Major Cranfield, argued several things. That some acts weren't technically war crimes, that the horrific conditions were out of their control, and crucially, the defense of superior orders, that they were just following instructions.
Grese herself must have been a focus of intense media attention. Placard #9 in court.
Absolutely. Her youth, her appearance, combined with the rumors of her, quote, monstrous crimes.
How did she handle herself on the stand? Did she confess? Deny everything?
Mostly denial, especially of the worst accusations. She often said witnesses exaggerated or made an elephant out of a small fly. She admitted some things, the lesser charges, like striking prisoners, but only with her hand at Belsen, claiming she had a horror of them.
A horror of the prisoners she was guarding.
That's what she claimed. It seems like an attempt to minimize her culpability, her direct involvement in the brutality.
But the court didn't buy it. What was the verdict?
No, they didn't. She was found guilty. Guilty of war crimes involving torture and murder.
And her defense lawyer, Cranfield, what did he argue in mitigation, trying to lessen the sentence?
He really emphasized her youth. Only 19 when she went to Auschwitz. Her background, poorly educated. He painted her as a victim herself, in a way. a subject of the Nazi propaganda machine. Said she was basically conscripted into the service at 18.
But it wasn't enough.
Not enough. The sentence was death by hanging, along with 10 others, including the former commandant, Joseph Kramer.
So justice in that sense was delivered. What about her final moments? Did she show remorse? Defiance?
Utter defiance, according to the sources. The night before, December 13th, 1945, she was reportedly singing Nazi songs with another condemned guard, Johanna Bormann.
Right to the end.
Right to the very end. As the hangman put the white cap over her head, her last word was apparently Schnell. Quickly, she was executed, age 22.
It's an incredibly stark story. Irma Grese, the hyena, the beast. It just forces you to confront those individual choices made inside these huge systems of atrocity.
Absolutely. Her youth makes it even more jarring somehow. Her absolute defiance at the end, and just the sheer scale of the crimes. It really challenges how we understand, well, human nature.
And this deep dive, looking through the trial records, the testimonies, it shows the horror from the inside, from a perpetrator's perspective alongside the victims.
Which underscores why this documentation, why accountability is so vital. The fact that she holds that grim title, youngest woman executed under British law in the 20th century, it just highlights the gravity of her actions and the justice system's response.
So as you listening reflect on this, think about that question. How do seemingly ordinary people get drawn into something so horrific? What does that final defiant word, Schnell, really tell us about her own understanding or lack thereof?
There's always so much more to unpack, isn't there, when you dive into these deep, often really unsettling parts of history.